Hello everyone and welcome to NJ Cali. Today I want to show you guys our garden and what you can do with used coffee grinds, the benefits of coffee grinds. For those who don't know, that coffee was originated from what we know from Ethiopia, from a shepherd, goat shepherd. It is said that his goats wander off or sheep wander off into the mountains and became so energetic, not knowing that they eat this type of berry, red berry, looking like a currant almost, and went berserk. When they saw this, they I guess experimented by tasting and trying it, and they said that they end up having some type of energy. This berry, I forgot the terminology of the name, excuse me, but this berry was end up being traded and given to monks and other individuals for energy before meditation and whatnot. However, it got distributed to London in the 17th century, and from there it traveled. Coffee, as we know today, is mostly grown in the tropic areas and is very vital to some of our health, but too much can be a hazard. Coffee in itself, eating fresh, the berry, is more better than actually eating it uh, as we do today, or drinking it as we do today. One thing I want to show you is how use coffee grinds can benefit your garden. Now, I want to also mention that when it is used in the garden, you will see a huge difference. Let me show you. Oh. There are many opportunities of using coffee grinds in the garden. When using used coffee grinds, you allow it to dry out, or you just go ahead right away and just toss it into your garden. What do used coffee grinds do? Well, let me show you. As we're panning towards our compost bin, I'm gonna show you this right now. I recently got some grass from my landscapers, but this is what used coffee grinds do. It helps to break down your compost. Another thing it does, it can be also used below here as a feeding to your worms. I don't see any here, but usually the worms actually do be underneath, so I don't want to bother them. But I'm experimenting again this year in our garden. Every fall, winter month, I add used coffee grinds to my raised grow bag container with leaves, dried leaves. But this year we're adding grass as a mulch. And the reason why I'm saying this to you guys, because I have noticed that the red wigglers love used coffee grinds, or earthworms love used coffee grinds. And look at this. Since I added this, we have, let me just show you if I can get a good picture. We have looking like mushrooms right here that decided to sprout out. You see this right there? And this is what happens when you use organic matter as into your garden bed. Another thing I want to say to you all is that you can not only just use it as a layer of feeding to the beneficial organisms or worms, but you can also use it as a mulch layer as well, and it works perfectly. Another thing that you can do is make a coffee tea, or just make coffee and actually pour it into your soil, and you'll see your vegetation perk up. Now, too much can be harmful. One thing that we don't realize is that coffee is acidic, and one thing I do know, it also helps with your acidic loving
plants or trees such as berries, your blueberries, your blackberries, raspberries, and citrus. Anything that's related to the citrus family, it loves. Now, you can too use coffee grinds, even if you don't like coffee. What coffee grinds does as well, it not only is used for your compost, such as your compost bin here, or your compost tumbler, or your just when you're composting in place. What it does is it helps to break down the carbon and nitrogen, okay, which is I believe compost coffee grinds is basically your it actually is both. It's your carbon and nitrogen to a certain extent. But what happens with used coffee grinds as well is also used as a repellent to your uh, pests, such as your certain insects that gets in the way, such as sometimes ants or even like your aphids or your beetles. Certain pests don't like use coffee grinds. It is even a deterrent to even uh, cats, quote unquote. However, I'm gonna show you what I'm about to do right now with this bag here of used coffee grinds. For those that don't drink coffee, you can actually sometimes get used coffee grinds uh, at your local coffee shop. Sometimes they want to get rid of it and don't have nowhere uh, to actually get to waste their used coffee grinds. So here's a way uh, that you can get it. You can get it from a used coffee shop, or even you can get it from someone who drinks it personally. So what I'm going to do, because I did not have enough used coffee grinds at home, I decided to go to my local coffee shop and ask for some used coffee grinds. And this is what we have here. This big bag. And we're going to basically add it to our compost bin, and given time, in a couple of months, it's going to break down and turn the compost. Now, one thing used coffee grinds does well as well, it also heats up the compost. It also, when we have a certain amount of carbon and nitrogen. Now, for me, I'm not big on heating up compost, but if you do, you want to make sure your compost is heated at least a temp of 180. Okay, that is the temp that you want it to be at. No less, no higher. 180 is very important when it's breaking down, and it'll break down within a couple of weeks. But with your cold compost, it's a different story. So, I have some food scraps here, and I'm going to take you with me. So let's go. Now, for some people, they like to be very strict on measurements. For me, when it comes to composting, I am not. And so, usually you have a layer of grain to browns. And for some reason, used coffee grinds are actually both green and brown. I don't know why, but that's the case. So we're going to add our used coffee grinds. And so basically your browns would be your carbon would be your cardboard, used coffee grinds, dried leaves, dry grass, and then your nitrogen would be cut grass, fruit scraps, and then used coffee grinds and fresh leaves, which is the weirdest thing, y'all. I still don't understand, but. So we just add our used coffee grinds, and then I have a gallon bag of food scraps from the freezer. And usually you want to spread it all out, make it look all nice and whatnot. That's called like lasagna of layering. That's what some people are strict about. I am not, again, for those. So I'm just gonna tilt this up a little bit so you can see what we've done here. And for those who want to get their compost going, you want to make sure you aerate it, which is taking your shovel or what you have and basically turning it. They call it, say, turning compost. And then let's get rid of this here. You can even use any vegetable scraps that you don't have. Basically, take it in and just cover it up with more leaves on grass clippings. And again, I like to use coffee grinds all the time in my garden for the pests and to help with my blueberries and citrus.